Welcome, everybody, to another exciting edition of the HeatRatio podcast. I'm your host, Tony Consillo, joined by my co-host, John Coker, our Mr. Coach Dave tonight. But I'm going to say to everybody, a happy NFL New Year, because today is the day where all the words become money, right? All the pen hits the paper. We actually could call this in Philadelphia Frank Gore Handshake Day, because this is when Frank Gore had the handshake agreement come with the Eagles, and whoop, he went to the Colts all of a sudden. So, but listen, we're going to go through this free agent mess that has just, basically exploded in NFL. If the Major League Baseball Association is watching what the NFL is doing right now with free agency, I think they need to rethink their process and see how it's supposed to work. I was afraid to actually go to sleep because I thought I was going to miss something on my Twitter line. I mean, it was just, right? It was like every time we turn around, something was happening, right? It was something that was happening before it was crazy. Go, what's up?
I don't know. One of the biggest things that I see this year more than any other year, it seems like the rich didn't get richer, and like it almost seems like all these teams are coming to more of an even playing field,
more parity,
right? You look at the teams that really did good. These are the lesser teams in the league in the past couple years have really made a splash with, you got the Browns, you got the Raiders, you got the Jets. I mean, the
Jets will never win, though. That's the problem. There's teams that make splashes that honestly never win.
Well, and everything's on paper. Dan Snyder bought a bunch of good paper teams that never mounted into anything.
Dan Snyder bought him Case Keenum. Good job, Dan. Way to go.
Yep.
and he way overpaid for Landon Collins, in my opinion. But, hey, we'll get into all that. We're going to go division by division. We're going to swing this around like a carousel ride. Okay, we're going to talk about who signed where, trades made, what teams got better, give a little analysis on each, give our own unique opinion, and keep this basically NFL-centric. If anything comes up, we'd usually go 4 for 4, but today it's just imperative, I think, that we talk NFL because, there's been some ridiculous moves, man. Yeah, you're right. It's like right now we're unwrapping a Christmas present, right? And we're wondering what we're going to get. And speaking of Christmas presents, in my opinion, as of right now, as we talk on this Wednesday, the most shocking move to me was Odell Beckham Jr. Am I right?
Yeah.
And the GM of the New York Football Giants came out last year, remember, when he was asked all the trade talk, and he said, hey, we didn't sign Odell to trade him. And lo and behold, guess what happened, right? Nothing's ever been right with the New York Giants ever since that picture on the boat. Remember that?
Yeah.
Nothing's ever been right with them since. But listen, Odell Beckham Jr., no matter what you say about him, the guy is an exciting, explosive young receiver who's had some I was going to say mental issues, has had some health issues. He is diva-ish, so to speak, comes from that Antonio Brown mold, who has a new team, and we'll get to that later. But my thing is, how good did the Browns get? I mean, you talked about it earlier, right? We were talking about fantasy, and we'll get into that next week. But how good of a move is this for the Cleveland Browns?
I mean, this is going to be, on paper, it looks like it's going to be one of the best offenses in the league.
On paper, like you said, right?
Right. You got Baker Mayfield, you got Chubb, Dookie Johnson. He may be out the door, but, you got Kareem Hunt. Who knows if and when he'll be back, but you still got Chubb there. You're looking at Odell and Landry. You're looking at Njoku at tight end. I mean, I'll tell you what, they're just really bringing this team to not be the laughing stock, I think, for once. I mean, they signed Sheldon Richardson as well to, who knows how much he has left in the tank. But
still a good signing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They're doing – John Dorsey's no joke out there in Cleveland, okay? He built what he built in Kansas City for a reason, and he's doing the same kind of thing. And to see Baker Mayfield grow last year as, he was one thing I always said that stood out to me for him. He was a true leader. He was the guy had that intangible that was on the sideline, prop people up. He was the guy gave you that energy. You could feel when he got in the game. And for all Philadelphia, this is a different comparison here, but for like the Philadelphia fans, he is like a lot more talented than a guy named T.J. McConnell, but in the basketball sense that he's that kind of energetic, charismatic individual that's going to keep that team from getting their heads down and always feel like they're in the game. Because this guy, Baker Mayfield, his talent is exceptional, and he's just scraping the surface what he has. I mean, you're talking that, like you said, that offense is going to be, I know it's on paper, but if it can click in all the right areas, it's going to be fantastic. It really is. And they're going to be a new fantasy super squad of fantasy drafts coming up.
It might be. It might be. I know one of my keeper leagues, the guy was already shopping Baker Mayfield.
Isn't that amazing? I mean, real fast, again, we have our fantasy show that we do bi-weekly. Again, don't forget it's going to be on the Full Press Radio Network, which will be great on our YouTube page as well at the Heat Ratio. But you talk about, where does he fall? We talked about on this show, Andrew Luck breaking into that top 5 maybe. I mean, Baker Mayfield could be looking into that top 5 if you think about it, right?
I heard, I forget what I was listening to, but the discussion was, can Baker Mayfield be the number 2 quarterback?
Wow, that's
with OBJ.
Hey, listen, if he stays healthy, think about the defensive coordinators. Who are they going to cover? Landry, OBJ, Chubb, Njoku, who showed that he's very athletic. He's and they still have their highly scouted, highly touted draft pick from last year, right?
Callaway. Yeah.
So I mean, there's a guy they're big on too. I mean, this is going to they're building a monster out there in Cleveland. They really are. Now, when we stay in this division, what about your Steelers, man? What's going on? I mean,
this is a typical offseason for the Steelers. They don't make splashes in free agency. They build off of the draft. They build off of their homegrown talent, and they try to re-sign their vets. I mean, that's usually what they do. I'll tell you, on paper, it don't look good. And you're going to hear me say on paper because nothing is played out.
You're right. I get it.
They have not really done much as of yet. And I mean, they signed Steven Nelson.
Yeah, what are you telling me about Steven Nelson, Kansas City, Nickelback?
All I could tell you is the guy that I want, if I need a cornerback, I need defensive help in the defensive backfield. I'm not going after Kansas City's who let up 50, dude, they have one of the worst defenses. I'm not going after that guy in my free agency. I don't know. It's a typical offseason. They didn't do anything to get better, and a lot of teams did.
You're right. They really
including the Baltimore Ravens.
You're right, and that's a great segue into the Ravens because what did they do? Who they throw big money
They went and got the guy that I originally wanted the Steelers to go and get.
Earl Thomas. Absolutely.
Yep. Earl Thomas.
I mean, this is a guy who, he had, broken fibula last year or broken leg. I'm not a doctor. All I know is he broke something down low, right? That's just called that, right? Yeah. So, he broke a bone. But the whole thing is I did not see this coming from the Baltimore Ravens at all. I mean, there was talk that they may have been in on Lev Bell on the offensive side, which I didn't really think was going to be the case.
I didn't either.
They signed Mark Ingram, which I like him as a 2-year deal. He signed a 3-year deal worth $15 million, 29 years old. But the guy averages like 7 touchdowns a year over the last 5. He's a steady guy. He's a pound guy. And because now with Lamar Jackson, you know what kind of offense they're going to run out there. That pound it game. We know what they're going to do. But Earl Thomas is a closer in the backfield.
It is.
Man.
Well, but let me ask you this.
He's a closer in the defensive backfield.
In general, you're looking at this. Okay, Collins was released after whatever his drug arrest, or so you bring in Ingram. I don't know how much it matters who the running back is back there. It's all scheme and Lamar Jackson.
True.
But so you bring in Ingram. I mean, they had a bunch of capable guys. They had Ty Montgomery, I think was the number 3. They had Collins. They got Gus Edwards.
Yeah, I was just going to say Gus Edwards.
I mean, they had kind of a stable. I mean, Mark Ingram's definitely an upgrade, and that I like Earl Thomas. Don't get me wrong, but they lost Collins, they lost C.J. Mosley, and they lost Eric Weddle.
C.J. Mosley, I'm shocked. I heard he offered them a disc. He was willing to take a discount to stay, and they didn't even throw any money at him.
Wow,
that's crazy.
Yeah, but so net, are they better or are they worse? You lose Weddle, C.J. Mosley, Collins. You bring in Ingram, which I think is an upgrade at running back.
I think it is.
Earl Thomas versus C.J. Mosley and Weddle. That's a close one.
That's a close one because obviously I'll take Earl Thomas over Weddle every day of the week.
Yeah, me too.
But when you throw Mosley into the conversation, now it gets interesting because
it's more
Weddle is serviceable.
Right. It's more like Mosley versus Thomas.
Exactly.
I mean, those are your studs.
Exactly.
And then is Weddle and Mosley enough?
I'm surprised he got the money he did.
Yeah.
$32 million guaranteed, 4 years, $55 million. I mean, obviously in the NFL, listen, all you look is the guaranteed money. Everything else means nothing because they can cut you at any time, right? They cut you at any time. I seen enough out of Lamar Jackson in the playoffs to me. He's not the guy. Sorry.
I agree.
I don't think he's the guy.
And I don't think we have anything to talk about for Cincinnati. Which
come on, man. How about Preston Brown?
Okay.
I'm just kidding, man. Cincinnati has a quiet offseason so far.
They had a quiet season for the past 3 years, off-season and on.
I mean, their biggest thing is they hitched their wagon to Andy Dalton, which I thought was the bad move. But, I mean, I guess in the NFL, what else do you have? You know, if you have this guy who's halfway decent, I mean, hey, listen, not everybody could be like Jacksonville and sign Nick Foles.
Blake Bortles is out there.
Yeah, but he's looking for a team. He's definitely looking for a team. So I guess we could look at this division and go out on a limb here and say the Browns overly popular, moves.
Browns definitely.
Yeah, I definitely think that they've taken the division. Yeah. I don't mean by winning, but we're just talking about free agency.
Yeah.
As of now, and this is all could change. Like John said off the air, this is the all the upper echelon guys. So we're kind of like out of that tier. We're going to get in the second tier.
There's no Bryce Harper holding out right now. Like all the top guys are basically locked.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
We'll touch on a few who are still out there.
And there is.
Yep.
There is. And we'll get to them later. But let's swing over to the NFC. Okay? We're going to kind of go all over the place here. Okay? We have to talk NFC East because obviously this is a national. So we got to keep this national topics. But, of course, as John being a Pittsburgh native and I being a Philadelphia native, he got to talk about his lackluster offseason.
Lackluster performance.
Of the Steelers. And I'm going to talk about a mighty, I wouldn't say mediocre at all. I would say a very active. We know Howie Roseman and the Eagles are always active, but a very, very busy and interesting offseason. And I say interesting because they made some moves I didn't think were going to be possible. Obviously, the biggest thing was they re-signed Brandon Graham. We talked about that. They gives them their defensive guy. They extended Jason Kelsey. They re-signed and restructured Jason Peters, Ajik Salamalu. I mean, it's no secret they're looking at their guard, and they looked it out there and they said, hey, really no left tackles out there. Jordan Mailata, I think, is our guy of the future, hopefully. So let's sign Jason Peters for one more year. He's a freak in nature. He can help this kid out. He can protect. He's the bodyguard, right? He'll protect Carson's blind side. And as long as he gives us, say, 10 games, because he's going to miss some games, we'll be good. And then they bring back they trade for Deshaun Jackson, right? Which, everybody in Philadelphia loves. 32 years old. I don't know, but all I know is he's a guy that's going to go deep.
He can stretch the field.
He stretches the field, right? Nelson Aguilar, interesting. They pick up his option, $9.4 million. I'm really surprised at that. I really was. I was not expecting that, but we'll see what happens, right? And to me, the biggest move they made was Malik Jackson. And Malik Jackson is a beast. He won a Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos, and one of the big reasons why Von Miller was able to win MVP was because Malik Jackson clogged everything up in the middle, and Von was able to do whatever he wanted. So I think that's a big deal. I mean, you're pairing him up with Fletcher Cox. Wow. I mean, that's a big deal. All right, that's a Michael Brockers, Ndamukong Suh / Aaron Donald kind of pairing, right? Well, would you say maybe I don't know, but I mean that's pretty deep.
Yeah.
What do you think?
No, I absolutely. I mean, you did. You lost to Bennett though. That's so. And I'm just saying, once again, you got to weigh out. I mean, the ads look good. Yes, I think it upgrades, but it's not like there was a pretty big loss on that line too.
Wow, a little bit. Michael Bennett was only here for a year though, right? So you also have to sit there and think. I mean, this guy was already starting to complain about money and wants a new contract. And
I'm not saying it was a
like,
bad move.
Right.
I'm just saying net talent on the defensive line.
True.
I mean, it's you didn't lose anything. That's
I don't. No, I absolutely agree. So I really think the Eagles had a really good beginning of the NFL New Year, and Nick Foles is bye. That was one of the big moves for the Eagles. We talked about this. Were they going to franchise him? Were they going to pay him? For 1 year, try to deal him, and they obviously just let him go because nobody was interested. And I think they'll get a third, like a third round compensatory pick. Maybe third, definitely fourth, something like that.
It all depends on the free agent signings that they lose and get. Because it could net to nothing if they sign too many people.
What's funny? Here's the deal. I found this out by doing a little research, but, a guy like Malik Jackson doesn't count against the compensatory selection because he was a free agent before a certain period. So if there's certain rules, so because he was already released prior, it doesn't really count. It's really weird how they structure it. But it seemed like the Eagles targeted guys that they wouldn't have to have, give up their rights to a compensatory pick that would kind of take it out of their back pocket. So I thought that was interesting. The Cowboys, dude. I mean, we're staying out of the East. I thought it was kind of funny. Who knows what's going on with Jason Garrett? It was like, let's extend Jason Garrett. Let's not extend Jason Garrett. Back and forth. Jason Witten comes out of retirement. Well, it doesn't really do nothing for me, right? I mean, they franchise tagged DeMarco Lawrence, which they really had to do, right? DeMarcus Lawrence is a stud. We'll see what they do. They're going to pay Dak, maybe. They haven't done it yet. They're going to pay him $30 million guaranteed. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. But have they blown you away with anything?
No, it's a non-discussion topic. The biggest thing you got to say about them is they lost Beasley, and that's not even.
He got paid.
That doesn't even matter.
Dude, Beasley got paid. A little surprised at that. We'll talk about that a little later because I thought that was interesting.
Yes, Dallas, nothing to talk about. I mean, Washington, once again, they spent some money. Did they spend it in the right spot? No.
Did they sign AP to a 2-year deal?
Yes. Yeah.
Why?
Don't know.
So this is what kills me. So you mean to tell me I'm looking from afar, right? And I'm looking at an I formation, and I'm supposed to be scared of a 30-plus old Adrian Peterson and Case Keenum. You might as well just rack up the season, man.
They should have Darius Geis back in action by then.
Well, but he's had an ACL. I don't always.
But that was done early. That was in spring. That was in the spring training.
First year back, though, right?
You see where my mind is. Yes, it'll be his first year back. Dalvin Cook did it in week 3. Didn't he tear up his ACL last year? He was back.
Yeah, it all depends, I guess.
Geis had it. Geis tore his a month and a half earlier than
Case Keenum stinks, so it's not going to matter.
Yeah, he does. They didn't have any quarterback play regardless.
But how about Landon Collins?
Yep.
I like Landon Collins, by the way. I was a Landon Collins fan. I don't know about $45 million guaranteed.
That's what it is, yeah.
Wow.
That's excessive.
That's
excessive.
Think? I mean, Jesus. God, no wonder the Giants didn't re-sign him. And speaking of the Giants, I mean, we already talked about their fantastic move of trading Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, they get back. One of the people they get back is Jabril Peppers, who, okay, I mean, I'm not like
He's a guy.
he's a guy.
He's a
right?
guy.
So here's the thing, and they signed Antoine Bethea too, or Bethea, however the hell you say it. Okay, 2-year deal, no money reported, which means he didn't get paid nothing. But my thing is, you decide to go forward with Eli Manning, right, with $20+ million, and you let your best receiver basically walk for a first, a third, and a player. I mean, I don't understand. So you're basically going rebuild with a quarterback who is going to have nobody to throw the ball to. I mean, yeah, all right, I shouldn't say nobody. Sterling Shepard's out there and Evan Ingram.
Yeah,
but I'm not. I mean, poor Saquon.
Well, I think it was just a poor move all around. They are, they're in the midst of rebuilding. When you have OBJ and Saquon, I mean, that is your rebuild. Like, you don't go and get rid of one of them when you have two guys in the prime at that age. They're super talents. It's just crazy. And yes, that's the whole point. You keep Manning around for, try to milk out another couple years with these guys. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. They might as well draft a rookie quarterback and start him on week 1. I don't know.
To me, it's like you might as well just tie it up. Hang it up for the year.
So, on the plus side, as an Eagles fan, everybody else got worse.
I was just going to say.
Whether you got better,
it doesn't matter.
Everybody
else got worse.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. So, as long as Carson Wentz healthy, in my opinion, there's no way they don't win this division. But like John says, everything's on paper, right? Everything's on paper. So, are we going off here on a tangent or on a limb to say that the Eagles won this division so far in free agency?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Now,
where do we want to go next?
I got to stick to the Pittsburgh, the domino effect, and we got to go in the AFC West. We got to talk about those Raiders and Antonio Brown,
the Oakland Raiders.
So, what do you think about that?
Look, I don't want to get too far off topic.
No, let's go. Let's talk, man.
What we're doing. The only problem I have with this whole Antonio Brown thing is just the way that it all played out. I'm not mad that he went somewhere else. I'm not mad that he got his money or whatever. I'm annoyed that it teaches no lesson. He's there. He acts up. He's a malcontent. He bashes the ownership, bashes his players, doesn't show up. Suppose with my air quotes, quits on the team or whatever, tweets everything out, and then the dude gets exactly what he wants. He gets traded, gets a guaranteed extension, and everything. So the lesson learned is, and I'm going to use kids, hold your ears, be a jackass, and guess what? You'll get yours. That's the lesson learned. So that's what I'm not mad that he left as a Steeler fan. Yeah, I liked what he did on the field, but that's not my point. My point is, and I would say that for any player, you go, you have a tantrum, you have your hissy fit, then you get your way. I hope that's not that ain't how I raise my kids.
Me neither.
So that's all.
Me neither.
That's all
listen,
I got there.
I
In terms
agree
of the Raiders, though, I'll tell you what, man.
Raiders are stacking up.
They got
Tyrell Williams.
Yep, Tyrell Williams.
Which they paid a lot of money for, too.
Yeah,
man.
well,
they get an offensive tackle on Trent Brown, who played fantastic for the Patriots last year.
Yep.
And I think they overpaid a little bit for LaMarcus Joyner, but for some reason, the safeties are just getting paid, dude.
Yeah.
Safeties are getting paid this year, which is crazy.
Well, look, this is not the league of defense. I mean, you look at some of these teams; they have no defense. But if your offense can overpower them. So when you're sitting there, if they plugged in a running back, and as of now they haven't, but if I was hoping or what, but I thought Lev Bell would have been a good fit there.
I thought so too.
They had the money and everything, but I mean, I don't know what Lynch has left in the tank. Doug Martin, Jalen Richard.
Martin's got stuff.
That's a gap, but I'll tell you what, Derek Carr.
Yeah,
okay.
And that's why
I always mix up Derek and David, so I had to make sure I said it right.
David Carr sucked.
Yeah, but he's on NFL Network or whatever, so I still see him, and here's
terrible.
But I'm saying that offense, it could be pretty potent.
So I was going to ask you about Derek Carr. So, do you have faith in Derek Carr? Because, and here's the thing, John Gruden didn't have faith in Derek Carr, and there was whispers out there that John Gruden wasn't a Derek Carr fan. But I thought Nick Foles would have been going out there to Oakland. So, I'm shocked. He's basically, it's almost like he's basically given Derek Carr all the weaponry, right? All the weaponry.
Gave him the Lamborghini.
All right, and said, don't crash, kid.
Exactly.
Right? Don't crash,
You're exactly
kid.
right.
Yep.
But Gruden's the type of guy. Guess what happens if he crashes this year? He ain't going to be there next year.
Nope.
Plain and simple.
Nope. But you also have to have a quarterback, though.
Well, they have enough. They had enough picks. They still got picks coming from the Mac trade. Next year.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But
And I don't think they're going to end up with a winning record necessarily.
I don't know about
possible.
that.
It's possible.
I don't know about that.
I don't think their defense has enough. Like it's a balance of offense and defense. Their offense definitely got better, but I don't think their defense has enough.
You could be right,
and I don't quite trust Carr.
No, I don't trust Derek Carr.
I think
like
the potential's there, and you'll get it 70% of the time, but the other 30%, it's just going to clunker.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. And speaking of defense, one thing for sure, Denver Broncos always have defense, right?
Yep.
But they bring in Joe Flacco. So they trade Case Keenum for Joe Flacco, which I'm not a huge Flacco guy. I don't know about you.
No.
But it still boggles my mind that John Elway, who was an unbelievable quarterback, Hall of Fame, is the GM out there, and he never has a quarterback.
Can't find a quarterback.
Like, is he just a terrible talent evaluator?
Even when he tries to go all in and say, dude, screw it, I'm getting Peyton Manning. Yeah. What's Peyton do? He puts up he got the
55
ring.
touchdowns, got the ring, right?
Yeah, and then that was it.
But Paxton Lynch, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Brock Osweiler. I mean, these are Case Keenum. I mean, come on, John. I mean, you got no better than that. No better, John. Nothing for me, right? Hey, listen, maybe Joe Flacco comes in and lights it up. They're happy about their young receivers out there. I don't know if they did anything with Emmanuel Sanders yet.
They still have him.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as, he had the Achilles, so
yeah.
I don't know. He was 31 years old already. Mm-hmm. They got, Cortland Sutton
and Deshaun Hamilton.
Yeah, I mean, they have a couple nice pieces out there, but, they got an offensive tackle. Okay, from Miami, Jawan James, who I actually like Jawan James. I think he's a really solid tackle for them. But, they signed Kareem Jackson, another D-back. Obviously they lost the services what's his name? Roby, and last year was Talib, right? So they're trying to rebuild that part, but I don't really think they got any better. I mean, you're like I said, you're talking about Flacco against Keenum, and I really don't think that matters. Kansas City Chiefs. Interesting part about Kansas City Chiefs is, and being a Philly guy. So the two biggest moves, okay, that, in my opinion, that the Kansas City Chiefs made were deciding to let go Justin Houston and Dee Ford. They trade Dee Ford and they cut Justin Houston.
And Eric Berry.
Well, and Eric Berry, right? So I'm glad you said Eric Berry because I forgot about that. Two positions. Andy Reid in Philadelphia never, ever put stock in. Linebacker and defensive back and safety. Okay? He had a luxury with Brian Dawkins. But after Brian Dawkins, they let him go, right? So, it was always like a revolving door back there until eventually he was gone and Malcolm Jenkins came in. But my thing is, he's doing the same thing now in Kansas City.
Yeah, but you know what? That Dee Ford trade, that kind of boggles my mind. I get Houston and Berry. They've both been battling injuries and things like that. I don't even know that the terms of the Dee Ford trade were finalized since we went on air. But
no, I don't think they were. But just to know
that's the young
he's a
guy.
stud.
That's the young guy that you tie your reins to and you have stick around, because I'll tell you what, you don't want that defense to get any worse. I
No.
mean, it was already not ideal last year, and that was with all those guys. Even though Barry didn't play. I mean, he might have only ended up playing like the last 4 games or something. I know it wasn't much.
Well, he had the health issues.
Yeah,
right?
they were saying he was gonna. Yeah, it was like he might be, but he was like questionable for.
But they signed
like
Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah.
So they traded safety for safety essentially, right?
Yeah.
So
and they lost Houston and D Ford.
Right.
So I'm just saying net.
And they're set.
Again,
They're set to make. I seen this didn't come out yet, but they're set to make Tyreek Hill the highest paid wide receiver in football, which is crazy to me. I don't think he's that guy. Do you? Like, if you're starting an NFL franchise tomorrow and you could pick any receiver in the NFL,
I ain't picking him.
No,
He's electric. He's also
one-trick pony.
Wow.
Right?
How different is he than the Rocket? Raheem Ismail.
Oh my God! Did you just go Raheem?
I went
CFL version. Raheem,
no,
the Argonaut version.
No, Oakland Raiders. Dude.
Come on, man! He played for the Argonauts.
I know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Rocket was. He let me down.
Well, Tyreek Hill. Look, he's a gimmick play guy. He's a speedster, and me personally, I want a guy that's going to go up, got hands, got good size, and he's going to go up and catch the ball. So, but in terms of what he does on the field, now you don't know if and when he's going to lose a step.
No, and that's a good point. You don't know. You definitely don't know that. He had the bad foot. He was hobbling a little bit in the playoffs. We've seen that, right? But you see, he could still play through it and still be electric. So, I mean, who knows? Who knows going on out there? Andy Reid. Listen, I respect the hell out of him all the years he had in Philadelphia. I think he's a fantastic coach. I never fully agree with some of his decision making when building a roster, but listen, as long as you got Patrick Mahomes behind the helm out there, and you got a guy like what do you call it? Help me out. The tight end, Travis Kelce.
Oh, yeah.
Right? As long as you got Travis Kelce out there, you have Tyreek Hill, and you have guys in the backfield. I mean, to get rid of Hunt, but you have a guy like Damian Williams now who really showed he can play. Carlos Hyde. They signed on a 1-year deal, so he's another scat back kind of guy, receiving type back that Andy Reid loves. And then we go to the L.A. Chargers. I said L.A. right, and I never do that, which is awesome. I didn't say San Diego. Thomas Davis. Now, in Pittsburgh, they breathe linebackers. I think they breed linebackers in for the Charger land too. I mean, you're talking about here Thomas Davis, longtime Carolina Panther, just a solid veteran, but they always have good linebackers. They always have good linebackers. So I like that signing. They re-signed, their defensive tackle McBain. Okay, I mean decent player. He's kind of like a role player. Denzel Perryman.
Well, see, the one thing you could see with the whole thing, it's
all
defense,
right.
defense, and then the one offense.
Tyrod Taylor,
the
new backup to Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, well, you don't know how much long Phil
old
got
man
left
Rivers. He's still popping out kids, so he must still have that testosterone brewing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you.
I
hear you.
So I mean, looking at that, I mean, we got to say the Chargers. I mean the Raiders.
Oh, Raiders by far.
Yeah, by at least more than half of what any other team did in division. So, how do you say it? The Raiders?
The Oakland Raiders.
So where you want to go next? Where's the carousel stopping next?
Well, let's hop down to the NFC South.
NFC South.
Let's take a look at
talk about Tampa Bay land. What is the new look offense going to look like for Mr. Arians? And I'm still shocked that Bruce comes out for Jameis Winston, but hey, he must see something in Jameis out there. I don't know. They haven't had an exciting start to NFL free agency.
No.
To say the least. They signed a nice big, re-signed offensive tackle, which obviously, listen, everybody knows Bruce Arians. He likes to run the ball. So it's going to be a heavily involved running game out there. So why not sign one of your tackles, be able to, be able to basically protect Jameis Winston. But Rashard Perryman, receiver doesn't really do much for me.
He's been on, I can't even tell you how many teams already.
Yeah, he
still might be on his rookie deal.
Exactly.
He's been on like 4 teams.
Crazy. Deion Buchanan, I actually like. He's that smaller type linebacker, edge rusher. They bring him in, which obviously, I think is a decent move. I actually thought Lev Bell would have fit out there in Tampa as well. They get rid of Deshaun Jackson. Basically, they were going to release him anyways. They find a trade with Philadelphia, like we talked. We still have Mike Evans out there. You can still be, be exposed.
Tampa lost Adam Humphries too.
Yeah, they lost their slot guy.
So no Humphries, no Djax. It's a lot of Mike Evans.
A lot of Mike Evans. So
and
Mike Evans,
and a lot of trust in Jameis Winston.
Well, that's the thing, man. A lot of trust in David Winston. David Winston. Why is it David? Jameis Winston.
Who's David Winston?
I don't know. Then we go down the road to New Orleans. So, what I thought was funny about the Saints. So, they re-signed Will Lutz, who just had a fantastic year kicking. He seemed like he never missed.
Dude, believe it or not, he was my fantasy kicker in almost every league.
Because you pick a guy that scores a lot of
that
offense.
Plays on the team that scores the most. Yes, absolutely.
And it helps that he plays in the dome.
Yep.
But then, how'd you like to be? You're Mark Ingram, right? And you're sitting there thinking, I wonder if they're going to re-sign me. They're going to, you hear feelers out there from other teams, and you see across the screen, New Orleans signs Latavius Murray. It's like, guess I'm done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, obviously we talked about him earlier going to the Ravens, but it's funny because you knew right then and there he's not coming back. So they have a nice 1-2 combo again out there with Kamara.
I mean, they really didn't.
They do nothing crazy.
Tit for tat, really.
Right.
I actually would prefer Ingram slightly, even though he's probably a year or two older. But, it really doesn't change the team too much one way or another.
I don't think so. And then you go to the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons have, again, a nice, quiet start to free agency. Build through the trenches, right? So, Jamone Brown, the offensive guard. James Carpenter, offensive guard. Grady Jarrett, they re-signed, plays the franchise tag. $15 million they're playing for defensive tackle. Grady Jarrett, get that money, Grady. Okay? So that's a lot of Chick-fil-A you could buy out there underneath that stadium.
As long as it ain't Sunday.
Yeah, as long as it ain't Sunday. So, Dan Quinn didn't do a lot for me. Sorry, guards and tackles. I know they're necessary, but they sure as hell ain't sexy. And then we talk about the Carolina Panthers. 2 moves, Carolina Panthers, really? Matt Paredes.
Offensive line.
Offensive line, center, offensive tackle, Darrell Williams. Listen, Cam, question mark for Carolina. We don't know. How about, and we're going to get, I guess we'll go to there next, but Devin Funchess got $13 million for 1 year guaranteed.
Yeah.
What the hell? I'm about to throw some damn stickum on my hands and go see if I can catch a damn football. So I know I can catch. So really, I guess who wins the free agency award?
I say nobody. Nobody gets it.
They're like the toilet bowl of free agency.
Nobody
dude.
gets
It's
it.
nothing. Yeah, I'm not giving them a vote.
We shouldn't even wasted our time on that.
You went there.
South. Well,
I want to go to the
look.
South. What? Let's flip over to AFC South. You went South. We talked about Devin Funchess, right? We talked about the Colts. What do the Colts do that make anything interesting?
They got Devin Funchess.
I mean, what?
They got Pierre Desir. I mean, he's a decent upgrade.
Yeah, yeah, but it's a re-signing. You know what I mean?
It's better than letting them go.
Yeah, I know, but it's nothing sexy, man. They were a team, but that's the thing. They were a team with a ton of money. They were one of the top teams with a ton of money, right? What they were say throw $13 million at Devin Funchess, right? So you got T.Y. Hilton and Devin Funchess. And Eric Ebron and Marlon Mack and Jack Doyle, Andrew Luck, right? Yep. So, to me, it's all about the defense. We'll see if they continue to upgrade their defense through the draft, which is basically what they are always accustomed to doing. And then we get to the Jacksonville Jaguars, to Nicky, BD, and Foles getting all that paper. How about my man Nick, right? So I think we sat here on this show and we said multiple times. I know I definitely said it. I said, this guy don't worry about getting paid. He's not worried about being a backup. He just wants to, hold a clipboard. Dude, I was wrong. Nick want to get, Nick signed a contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars, okay? He's getting $88 million. I think it's $50 million guaranteed, if I'm not mistaken. Could be worth up to $102 million. But here's the funny thing about Nick Foles. He comes out after the signs, and he's the spokesperson for Lululemon. Could you imagine Nick Foles? Like, I mean, he's the spokesperson now for Lululemon, okay? And the only thing good to me about Lululemon was the pants that women were wearing. Let's be honest, okay? But Nick Foles now, I mean, it's just odd. I mean, he's a country boy. He doesn't. This is one of the most expensive pair of pants you'll ever buy. So it was just odd. So maybe he is all about that bread. You know what I mean?
That's what it is.
It sure seems like that. And again, re-sign AJ Cannon, offensive guard. Obviously, you're bringing Nick Foles. Right? Exactly. It's exactly what it is.
It has to be an upgrade.
You knew Coughlin was going to go there. I did. You knew. You definitely knew Coughlin was going to go there. He wanted that veteran presence. They released Blake Bortles today, which obviously that was a mistake. So hey, listen, we'll see what happens. You go down the list a little bit. You go to the next team in line, Houston Texans. What do Houston Texans do? Obviously, their first priority for Houston is to re-sign Clowney. Can't reach an agreement. They place a franchise tag on him. So he gets $17 million unless they basically work out an agreement. You mentioned Bradley Roby from Denver. They bring him over. I think it's a big move for them. It's only a one-year deal, but I think it was a necessary move.
Oh, yeah.
After they lost Bouye a couple years ago in free agency.
Oh, yeah.
That hurt. Yeah. To Jacksonville, right?
Yep.
So they had to replenish that spot, obviously. And then they signed Deshaun Gibson, a safety. Hey, listen. Backfield. You need the defensive backfield to be steady. It's a passing league now. You know what's going to happen back there. So, still to me, lackluster. I mean, Clowney, you knew they weren't going to let go. So, I mean, that was inevitable, right?
They flipped for Malik Jackson. What's his face?
Malik Jackson.
Kareem Jackson.
So. Now we're going to come to your boy, Marcus Mariota. I know you love Marcus Mariota, right?
My buddy.
So they hook him up with a little wide receiver in Humphreys, right? Is it going to help him out? They're going to help him out? I don't know. We'll find out. No, I know you don't think so. They re-signed their offensive tackle. They signed Roger Saffold, which I think was a big move, man. It's an offensive guard, 4 years, $44 million, $22 million guaranteed. They signed Kenny Vaccaro didn't he play? He played in New Orleans, didn't he? I don't know. Not the year before,
I'm not
but
sure.
I know he was a New Orleans guy, or he was a Carolina guy. I'm not sure. Cameron Wake, edge rusher. I like him. I think that's a good move for them. I definitely think they could use him on that line out there. Mike Vrabel, huge defensive guy. I really like him as head coach, by the way, as well. So, I mean, I think they made a lot of moves within the trenches. So if I have to look at that division and I have to say who won, I'm going to have to lean towards the Titans. What do you think? Are you going Jags because of Foles? Because it's what I'm saying is the upgrade from Bortles to Foles.
Yeah, that's a big upgrade, but I don't know. This is another underwhelming division to me.
Yeah, man, I'm not getting excited over here.
There was nothing that really stands out.
I'm definitely not getting excited.
No.
So you want to go NFC, or you want to close out the AFC?
Let's flip back to the NFC.
So let's go.
Well, who did we just talk about? No, we did that. I was trying to think if there was a good tie-in to the next guy.
Nah, we got no segues.
We got no segues.
We'll just start at the top. We'll go to the north.
All right.
All right, we'll go to the north, and I'll be honest with you. Packers were spending stupid money, and so were the Lions. So the John Middleton and the Phillies said they're going to pay stupid money. Well, guess what? Green Bay took that because Green Bay was printing money, dude. Zadarius Smith edge rusher, formerly of Baltimore. Okay, $34.5 million guaranteed. Preston Smith, edge rusher. Okay, $27.5 million guaranteed. Adrian Amos, safety. Okay, safety got paid, guaranteed $21 million. And then Billy Turner, offensive lineman, max value of $29.5 million. So Green Bay was on a spending spree, bro.
All on the defensive side.
Oh yeah, one offensive lineman and two edge rushers and a safety. So, and I'm surprised.
You know that's what they need to spend on.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have everything set. They let Randall Cobb, go this year. They float him out there. Obviously, they're paying all the Magic Man, who I think we both agreed that this may be the year he declines a little bit. So, and then you go to Minnesota Vikings, right? Minnesota Vikings, obviously we say, one of their big things was Anthony Barr. Okay,
stealing them from the Jets.
Yeah, well,
re-stealing them.
I was just going to say re-stealing them. $33 million guaranteed, man. Wow, I wish I had like a fraction of this money. Like what? Like that's like what would I do with $37 million? Like it's just unheard of when you talk about it. Shamar Stephen, defensive tackle. Okay, it's funny. Like you look at it. Here goes Anthony Barr, right? 5 years, $67.5 million. Shamar Stephen, 3 year, $12.4 million. Includes $5 million signing bonus in the first year. I mean, but I take it.
Balling.
I take it, right? Yeah, he's not making it rain like Pac-Man. I could definitely tell you that. But and then we go to the Lions. The Lions spent some crazy money, dude. I was really surprised. Danny Amendola. That was just a kind of gimme deal. Justin Coleman, they signed a 4-year deal worth $36 million. Trey Flowers gets a 5-year deal. Jesse James, Jesse James. Jesse James gets $11 million guaranteed, 4 years, $25 million. Dude, I'll tell you what, the NFL is just getting crazy.
Get your bread, Jesse. Get your bread.
Get your bread.
Get your bread.
Oh my! Then we go down. And we go to the Chicago Bears. Mike Davis, running back. They signed him from Seattle, right? $7 million could be worth in upwards. Cordell Patterson, interesting move. 2 years, $10 million, $5 million guaranteed. Now they have Allen Robinson. They have Cordell Patterson. They have Anthony Miller, right? We'll see what they do with Jordan Howard, Taylor Gabriel, Tariq Cohen, Mitchell Trubisky, Nagy's out there. So, hey, listen, they're always going to have a shot to be creative and to win some games out there. So I'm really not surprised. And they also they signed Buster Skrine, cornerback. He only gets $8.5 million guaranteed, so nothing crazy for him. I could say that easy for me, but for him, he's probably wishing he got more money. I don't know. So who do you think wins that?
Green Bay got it.
You know what I mean? That's
Green
what I'm
Bay
thinking.
got it.
Definitely.
They hit the spot of need.
And you know what? If you're Aaron Rodgers, you probably got to be happy that they're spending some money, right?
Wow. I think that he would have been a little happier if he got a little more offensive help. But.
Well, yeah, but listen, Devontae Adams, all you got to say, man. Aaron Jones, who played really well. So I think they have something there. So let's flip back to AFC East. Let's go to everybody's hated team, the New England Patriots, and see exactly what they've done. Oh, that's right. They take Michael Bennett from Philly, 34-year-old defensive end who played fantastic, 8-9 sacks last year. Was talking about more money. And that's the thing. Like, it's funny. Like, here's a guy who's complaining about a contract, but he goes to New England who doesn't pay anybody. So it's always interesting when that kind of thing happens. And then they re-sign Jason McCourty to a 2-year deal. So typical New England offseason where Belichick just says, hey, we're just going to draft. We're just going to draft, and we're going to play, and we're going to be good. Then we go to the Jets. The Jets. Jets. Lev Bell. Tell me what you think, John. Was the holdout worth it for Mr. Lev Bell? Sure as hell doesn't look like
well, look, and I'm not the contracts guy, and there's different levels of guaranteed money, and some's based on health, and some's based on skill, and there's like 3 different components to it. So apparently this contract that he signed with the Jets definitely has more true guaranteed, meaning hitting all three of those categories, where I forget what the reports were, but the guaranteed money was up there ahead of Gurley and everybody else, and well ahead of what Pittsburgh was offering him.
Well, I think, and just to not to interrupt you, but I think they were saying that in average annual value, he's second behind Gurley with 13 and a quarter.
Average annual value, absolutely. He gave up money to go play with the Jets instead of re-signing with the Steelers. I mean,
but do you take into account that he had 1 year to not have his body beat up? Is it worth it? You know, for a running back, that we say we have that 30-year-old number out there that weighs, how old's Lev Bell, 27?
Mm-hmm.
So you could say he's 26 then, because a year shouldn't really come off because he didn't play.
Well, I didn't play football, and I'll tell you what, every year I feel a hell of a lot older. So I don't know how much that goes. And the other thing, I will tell you,
what's that?
Is every time Lev Bell did his holdout or had an injury, it takes him a solid 3 to 4 weeks to get back up into game.
He always had the quad injury.
Well, I don't know. Look, everybody's saying that, he had a year off. His body had a year to heal. What I'm seeing is this guy hasn't been touched or had to make a cut or had to, get tackled in a year and a half.
Right.
And I'm telling you, well, I think
you think his body's going to get in the football shape.
It is, yeah, absolutely. As much as it's a good thing, it also could be a curse. I'm just saying. Look, it's going to be on the line. He's going to make some things happen, but when it comes down to clutch, can Sam Darnold complete a third down pass to keep the offense going? And that's what it's going to come down to. And granted, check downs to Lev Bell can get a lot accomplished, but Sam Darnold's going to have to improve if that team's going to do anything. I mean, Lev Bell can only do so much on his own. And the one thing that I will say is it's going to be very interesting to see how especially this season, plays out. I want to see how the Raiders, the Jets, and the Steelers perform now that their killer bees are all in separate landing spots. I wouldn't be surprised if all three of them crash and burn. Where Bell says, "Oh man, I didn't realize how good I had it in Pittsburgh. I'm playing for these Jets and they can't do nothing." And Brown goes over to the dark side in Oakland,
and he's
like,
side.
"Wow, Ben, I really didn't like that guy, but he certainly could throw a better ball." And Ben's sitting there like, "Where'd all my guys go? I need somebody. I can't just throw to Juju all day." So I don't know. I'll tell you what. I see all three of them taking a hit. Because I don't think they realized what they had together.
Well, that's an interesting logic, but you're right. But the Jets weren't done there. The Jets just went on, Josh Bellamy they signed, right? They signed Jamison Crowder. Jamison Crowder gets $17 million guaranteed. What the frig is going on in the NFL? C.J. Mosley.
That's the other big
huge deal. $51 million guaranteed. They get the guard. Dude, I'm not Kalichi Simile. I think I said that right.
Kalichi Simile.
Yes, I love that. Obviously from Oakland, they get him in a trade. And Henry Anderson, defensive lineman. From the obviously he was already on the New York Jets. It's kind of a re-signing, 3 years, $25 million. The Jets got really good. Okay, then we go to Buffalo, where everybody goes to die, and they spend literally, which this was crazy to me, but they spend. If it all, not including the signing bonus, Cole Beasley gets $14 million guaranteed. But if the contracts actually play out on their 3 and 4 year deal, respectively, they pay $56 million for a duo of John Brown and Cole Beasley. Wow. Okay. Frank Gore agrees he still wants to play, right? 1 year. Kevin Johnson, cornerback. Tyler Croft, tight end that came from Cincinnati. Mitch Morse, a center. Ty Neske, offensive tackle. And Jordan Phillips, defensive tackle. So they had a very busy offseason, obviously so far.
They spent more on paperwork than
exactly.
all those guys are worth.
Exactly. And then you go to Adam Gase's former team, the Miami Dolphins, Dwayne Allen, Eric Rowe, former Eagle, Devontae Parker.
Surprise.
That was a real surprise. Okay, I was, Jets got to win this hands down, man.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Yep.
You got to go Jets. I mean, Bell and Mosley they overtake the entire NFL when it comes to free agency, so far, in my opinion. And then we close this out with the NFC East. And let's start with those Rams, okay? We look at the Rams. I'll tell you what I really liked about the Rams offseason. They come in here. We're kind of figuring out what they're going to do. But I think Fowler was a huge deal for them because, they trade him midseason from Jacksonville. He's exactly what they needed. So to re-sign him and get him on board is a really good deal. And then he signed the veteran we talked about at the beginning of the show, Eric Weddle, to get in our defensive backfield for a 2-year deal.
Yeah, he's replacing DeMarcus Joyner.
Yeah,
Yep.
So they paid less for an older guy, but more of a wily veteran, I guess we could say. Arizona. Interesting. Terrell Suggs, which I was really shocked at, that he was going to come over to Baltimore, retire Arizona Cardinal now. Brett Hundley, I'm really excited about that deal. Great. J.R. Sweezy, offensive guard, big move. They need that. Marcus Gilbert, you know all about Marcus Gilbert, right? Again, offensive tackle, building the line. Jordan Hicks gets $20 million guaranteed. A guy who couldn't stay healthy in Philadelphia. He played 2 games and broke a toenail and was out for 6 months. So, he gets $20 million guaranteed. So they have a decent all season. Then we got to go to the Niners, who I think did excellent for themselves.
Yeah.
But overpaid for Quan Alexander, in my opinion. Okay, for Tampa Bay, it's $54 million. Tevin Coleman only got basically $5 million a year, which I was shocked that the Eagles weren't on him. 2-year deal, maximum value $10 million. D Ford, that's who.
Biggie.
Yeah, traded by the Chiefs for a 2020 second round pick. So interesting. They go 2020 second round pick and they get it done. Robbie Gould, I guess the Cody Parker experiment's over. Hit the post again. Cody. Mike Pearson, offensive guard, re-signs 3-year deal. I think, obviously, the line, the trenches, we talked about it. And then we close it out with the Seattle Seahawks. What do? Michael Kendricks resigns if he's not in jail for tax evasion or misplaying the stock market. Jason Myers, the kicker from the Jets, signs. I guess the Sebastian Janikowski era is over in Seattle, right? And the good old Frank Clark. Team placed a franchise tag on the defensive end worth $17 million. I'm going to go out here and say San Francisco won.
Yeah, San Fran.
I think
that's 2 big pieces they added on defense.
2 big pieces.
And Tevin Coleman he gets 2-year 10. AP gets 2 years 8.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And again, I can't fathom why he didn't get paid more. Obviously, something. I know he doesn't have a long injury history. I know he plays second fiddle to Devonta Freeman out there, but when he played pretty well. So I thought he was going to get paid a little more. I really do.
We got the bulk of it done. There's still some free agents out there to be signed that'll still make some impacts. You got Eric Berry, Justin Houston. We talked about KJ Wright
and Dominican Sue.
Yep.
Golden Tate. What's interesting? Nobody's really clamoring down for his services.
I'm still. I know it's not going to happen, but I would love my black and gold to get Golden Tate.
I wouldn't doubt
love it.
He's
black
and
Golden Tate.
He's poor man's Hines Ward. Dude.
Black and Golden Tate. Black and Golden Tate.
Yeah, keep saying that.
I
am. Kelvin Benjamin's still out there. I wonder if he went on a diet yet. So he seems to be eating himself out of the league. I'm curious to see where Teddy Bridgewater goes. I think he's a guy who may be given the opportunity to play for a spot as a starting role.
Looks like it's between Miami and the Saints.
And you got Tannehill out there who's probably going for a backup role now, who I still think is going to wind up being the Eagles' backup. But we'll see. I don't know. Okay, Sam Bradford's out there. Sammy Sleeves.
Yeah.
Still looking for a team. Someone going to pay Sammy Sleeves? Who knows?
John Elway will.
You know what? He probably should again.
Get Bradford to back up Flacco.
God, this is unbelievable. Listen, man, we got to run this down. We went through every single team, every single player, which was great. Divisions, I loved it. Free agent, happy NFL New Year, free agent frenzy, whatever the hell you want to call it, doesn't matter. We had a blast as always. Thanks for listening on Heat Ratio. Don't forget, giveaway. Gritty bobblehead for any hockey fans out there, any Philadelphia Flyer fans, any NHL fans. Gritty is like taking over the world, right? So get on our webpage, Instagram, get on our Twitter at the Heat Ratio. All you got to do is like the status, retweet it, and add a friend in the comments, and boom, it runs for another couple weeks. This is a limited edition. They're only making 1,000 of these things. Okay, so it'll be shipped out in July. So it'll be actually number sequenced and everything. So you can't pass up an opportunity to get something free, can you? I know I don't.
Nope.
Okay,
especially when it's specially numbered.
Exactly. Why not? All right, any memorabilia people out there, you know what that means. So again, close this down. Thanks everybody for listening. Thanks for your support. Get us a review, damn it, and click the 5-star.
Yeah, and look for the the Heat Ratio Fantasy Baseball League.
What is that again?
We're going to be drafting on
24th?
Sunday the 24th. We'll have a couple seats open. We'll send that out on Twitter.
Yes,
and then
and March
Madness selection Sunday. This Sunday we'll have our brackets up too. So
dude, we got everything going on.
I know.
If you're not with THR and the Heat Ratio by now, I don't know what to tell you, man. Because 13,000 people last month were hanging with us. So let's get another 5,000, get this thing back up to 20 grand. What do you say, John?
I agree.
All right, for your host, Tony Cotillo, at TCotillo23, John Coker, at PGHJohn36. And we'll get Coach Dave back in the fold, and we'll see you next Wednesday. And don't forget to hit the 5-star. Peace.